Well, good morning. Thanks for watching the Lavalier channel. Okay, so today we have a Dime Pacific Genie. This is one of the newer models. Easy way to tell the newer models versus the older models is the older models actually had a block right here where the hose and the pump went down into the base, and it had a block that allowed you to switch whether your air is going from this way or this way. This is one of the newer ones, plus the older ones I don't believe had a magnifier on it. Could be wrong. The issue with this machine, customer brought it in, and they said that whenever they're trying to cab, that the machine kind of jumps all over the place. Now, I'm not lifting this up, but you can see from every angle. So you start this machine up, and it's going to be flopping all over like a fish. And the reason for that is if you notice hopefully you guys can see that on the bottom, but that's all press board, which essentially is sawdust that they shoot glue into, they compress it and put it in a mold, and they turn sawdust back into a board-ish. Stuff can be okay for some applications, but even regardless, having this coating on top, this mica, I guess you would call it, on top, when you have something that you have as much water for a cab machine, it's not going to last. But I get it. They do it for, to be cost effective. Today, regardless of any of that, Dime Pacific, absolutely 100% in my opinion, is way better than a Cab King. Give you guys an idea, we get about 5 Cab Kings a month in, usually with electrical issues. And the machines range anywhere from, well, they actually usually are the newer machines. The really old Cab Kings weren't that bad. Versus Dime Pacific, we don't hardly see any of them. Besides issues maybe with these boards and stuff like that. We've done a couple of them over the years. But so what we're doing is we're going to switch this machine from being mounted to a piece of press board that flops all over like a fish, because it has, if you notice, it has that bow in it. And we're going to switch it over to this. This is marine grade plastic. And I'll get a little bit closer and I'll show you guys. So this stuff will last way longer than what any kind of machine will last. Not saying that they're not a great machine. They are a great machine. But this material here is what they use like on yachts, for decking, anything that you want, that's going to stand up against corrosion, getting waterlogged. You can throw this stuff into a drum of water for 2 years and bring it out. And besides it probably being slimy, you're going to be totally fine. It's oil resistant and it's chemical resistant. So this is a 3/4 inch thick, which is the same thickness as the original board there. And if you're interested in having this done to either your Genie or Cab King, or we can even put, if you have small trim saws, or even up to like 10-inch saws that you need a base for, any kind of lapidary equipment that you need a base for, we can put these bases on your machine. And in most cases, we can make the base for you and then send it out to you, so you don't have to send a whole saw in. So it'll save you a great deal of money. But this material is freaking awesome. It's the best stuff that I've ever found for pretty much anything lapidary. The only exception is when it comes in like this, and I get it. It's got hard 90-degree corners on it, so it's not sharp. But it needs to be that way if they're using this as decking or whatever. So what we'll do is we'll actually go in and put these over on the belt sander, and I'll put a radius on all of these corners all the way around, and then I'll put a chamfer on this corner going all the way around. That way, if you're setting your hands down here or whatever, it's not uncomfortable, and it just, aesthetically, it gives it more of a pleasing factor for the customer. So just putting it out there, if any of you guys require that, you're more than welcome to shoot me a text message at that number right there. Or you can also contact me directly that's our website up there. It's Hilmer's Fine Minerals, and then just .com. And the email address is hilmersfineminerals@gmail.com. So if you want anything like this done for your machine, we'd be happy to do it for you. And like I said, in most cases, sorry about the bouncing around there, guys. In most cases, I can send out the board to you. Like we're actually doing a couple restores right now. But one that we're almost finished of, you guys have probably seen in a previous video, is a, oh gosh, which one? It's a small 6-inch trim saw. Like I said, we're doing a couple of them right now. Oh, it's a Beacon Star. And that little Beacon Star will have a nice base like this when it's done on the end, because when you put this stuff in your equipment, you're never going to have to change it over again. It's going to last. So it's way better than putting natural wood and things like that. If you're going to do it, I would use actual wood. If you're not going to go this route's more expensive. But it's you do it once, you don't never have to do it again type of fix. Versus wood is always going to bend and bow. Plywood can warp and be distorted. Particle board, same deal. That actually can kind of pull apart over time. And the press board, this stuff that the original base is made out of, it shouldn't be used on anything that's wet. But that's what they put on it. So we're going to do the changeover, and here we go. All right, so we got the machine off the base, relatively painless. And next we have to do is we have to take off the magnifier and, of course, the light. We're going to pull off. It has really nice rubber feet on it, which we do have replacements of, but they're not as nice as the ones that Genie have. They're really nice rubber feet. So as long as we can, we're going to take them off and then install them onto the new board. And then we're going to take off the magnifier, light, everything else, and we're going to switch it over. But before we do, since we do not have a template for this machine, I'll have to do location and figure out the location of it, which is going to be pretty simple. It's only 2 holes, and away we go. So here on to the next step. All right, so we have our location settings. Whenever I got my template, did these guys, I bored them out. I think I bored these out on video for you guys. But we pre-drilled them and then drilled them the proper size. And then came along and marked our locations for each of our corner feet on there. And now the machine's gonna get mounted to the obverse side of this, like that. And let's see, it'll set up nicely on there, which is good because the rubber feet that we have are they're like a square type of adhesive rubber feet, but Diamond Pacific, these ones actually, I don't know if you can see, they have a screw in there. So these things ain't ever gone anywhere. That's why I reused the ones that were on here. My machine doesn't have that. My machine has the sticky ones on it, and that's what we have here. But it's nice. You want to leave a little bit of a lip, and if you're doing this changeover on your own, it's definitely something you want to put on, rather than just leaving your machine, no matter what kind of machine, sitting on the bench. Because say you have this sitting on a wooden workbench, which most of you guys probably will. Obviously, water is going to splash. When water splashes, it's going to get underneath. And if this board or any board is sitting against this wood and it gets water in there, that's how you're going to get mold. Having that little bit of gap underneath it like that isn't only for aesthetics, but also it'll raise it up and allow it to dry out a lot better on its own. So there's kind of multi-purpose to that. But all right, so now what we have to do is we have to go on and we have to put the gasket on the bottom here, on the bottom of the machine. I want to take it, clean it all up, make it nice and pretty for them. And then we'll mount the machine to it. And once we have the machine mounted, then we'll put on the quick disconnects for the lamp and magnifier on there after we get them cleaned up. And she'll be good to go. So here we go. All right, so we have the machine. She's all mounted up. It's torqued down to the board. One thing I noticed that on the original from the manufacturer is they forgot the bottom of these lag bolts. They forgot to put a washer on one side. I don't think that really had any difference, but at the last minute I seen that, so we threw a new washer on it, and everything looks real pretty underneath. So next we need to do is hook the quick. Oh, there we go. The machines are heavy. These are definitely a lot easier to work with when you have two people, by far. So what we need to do is mount the quick disconnects for the lamp and for the magnifying glass on there on the back. So onward. Okay, guys. Well, there we go. So we are pretty much done. Let me move. Sorry about my shoddy camera work. It's been I don't know. It's been a couple years since I've really done any kind of video stuff. So bear with me. So we have these are quick disconnects. We have both of them. We aligned them properly. Put on there. Just cleaned up. I blew out the heat sinks on the lamp for them to get out, ground up rock dust, and just clean the magnifier up. Just wipe the back of the machine up, make it look nice for them, and attach a little grommet right here. This is for the little spritzer. If you remember me guys telling you that on the new ones, you notice how they have two ports here and here. The old ones only had one, and it went from there down under the machine and to a block in the front that had a switch on it, which that's the way my machine is. And I actually like those better because when you have two, both of them are going at the same time like that. So you're dividing your basically your spritzer capacity, you're dividing up into two. Versus if you just have one, you get a lot more power on the one that you need, and then you switch it over to the other side. But anyways, it works. So there we go. Things are a little cumbersome. So now before, I don't know if I showed earlier in the video. No, I didn't actually show it. Shoot, I should have. Showed you guys earlier in the video that when you turn the machine on, it was like blah 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 blah. This little air hose actually needs to go over. The machine. There we go. And it needs to go around like that. But we'll put the hoods on it. Or I'll put a hood on it to show you guys. So there we have it. Now, one thing about this board I'll mention is the customer went with a board that was a little bit narrower. It's narrower by, I think, around 2 inches because of cost. So if you notice, I'll just point it out. If you notice how that hangs off a little bit, that's fine because it's not going to really go anywhere anyways. But you always could put a little block underneath that if you want. That's actually maybe something we'll do, is put a little block under just so it doesn't move. You put a block of Lexan on each side of it, on the bottom of that tray. But once you go to the next size up in this material, the cost gets a lot more. So it's not going to affect anything. What I did was to compensate for it, I moved the machine slightly back and then realigned those back posts on there. So it still gives them the same amount of space up front here. So even though their board is shorter, they're not losing any of that work surface in there. So they'll have this, same effect, same style. You got to watch when you're doing this, because if you don't, how do I put this? If you would have just took the template from the old board and stuck it on top of this with the same location settings, it would have brought your motor way out here, which then inadvertently you would have lost a lot of depth to your tray, and that's, that's no good. So with doing that, they save money, by getting one that's a little bit narrow. This is a standard width board. That's why the next size up, it almost doubles in size as far as width. In fact, it does double. This is 12. They go up to 24 then. So what we did was I have to clean this up, mind you, a little bit. I went over on the sander and I put a nice radius on all the corners, front and back and sides, and then actually put a chamfer, which is like an angle, going down all the way down there, all the way down there, and then on both sides of it. So the machine, so all those rough edges and stuff are gone. And overall, they got themselves a kick-ass little cow machine again. And here, I'll show you guys that it won't wobble. There you go. Solid as a rock. It's a beautiful machine. If you guys are going to get a cab machine, guys, and you're stuck between Diamond Pacific and Cab King, I don't care what people say online. Every single time, Diamond Pacific will beat a Cab King. The Cab Kings we see the most of is we see a lot of electrical problems with them. There's a capacitor. It's actually on that side, down in the back. The capacitors always end up going out on them. Wires short out, or switches. I'm just telling you what the common problems that we see in the shop. And it's not a cheap fix. It's really not. Replacing a switch isn't bad, but we had one maybe about 2 months ago. Now this is a Cab King. We're not talking Diamond Pacific. We had one about 2 months ago that real nice guy. He owns a bunch of stores here in Pennsylvania, and they sell cabs and stuff like that in their stores. So he's cutting a lot. And he said when he would turn the machine on, it wouldn't go like that. It wouldn't get up to speed. The machine would go, and it would take a while. Well, what that's a faulty capacitor. Those capacitors in there, what they're designed to do is that when you have them plugged in, they essentially are like a battery. And when you flip the machine on, it dumps all that energy from the capacitor into the motor, so the motor gets up to speed. So it's not taking forever for it to build up its speed under a load. So it was taking like 20, 30 seconds before that thing was up to speed. And then eventually it just shorted out on him, and it wouldn't work. So he brought it in the shop, and it was really kind of a sad situation. He bought an extended warranty on the machine, and it was right after the extended warranty went out on the machine. Of course, it's always the way it goes. And so what we had to do was, when the capacitor blew out, it shorted everything out. Thank God it didn't short the motor out. But there were shorts in the wires themselves where it actually fried through some wires. Capacitor was out, and the switch was out. So what we had to do is we had to go in and literally rewire everything right off the motor and rewire the whole bottom half of the machine again. And there wasn't much room. The wires that they had coming off the motor side of it were like real short, stubby little wires. They didn't have any kind of terminal block or anything like that. They just kind of had them like sloppily, like wire nutted together. And it was a job. It ended up being several $100s because of that. So when you think you're saving something, and I'm not trying to down Cab King by any means, guys, but when you're trying to, you figure, well, Diamond Pacific's a few $100s more. Yeah, but you know what? You're buying a machine. That's a great machine, and it's American made, so you're supporting, local people. The base, okay, it is what it is. That was a bad idea, but we don't see very many of these Genies or Titans in for any other reason really than is little stuff like that, or maybe the mandrels at the end occasionally, like somebody will strip a piece out. There's an aluminum mandrel that fits over the shaft of the motor. So on the end of the motors, you essentially have a shaft like this. It's built into the motor like this. and there's an aluminum collar that fits over top of it. And that aluminum collar is what holds your spacers and your wheels in place. And occasionally, people will strip that nut out there. Usually, they'll strip the aluminum part out, not so much the brass part. Or they'll strip the other side out over here, which you can see. Or that strips out is back in here. What's nice about these, and the Cab Kings have them too, is you can actually put a lap on the side. That's 1/4-20 holes. So you have a 1/4-20 right hand thread, 1/4-20 left hand thread on there, and you can screw a lap on the side that you can use for like diamond paste and things like that on the machines. Not a lot of people know about them, but they're right there. Use them. And on this side, okay, no, it is only on that side, the laps. I'm sorry. I believe Cab King allows both. I believe. I could be wrong. But there you have it, guys. Well, hey, thanks for watching the video. And if you need any repairs or restorations or help with any of your machines, feel free to contact us through our website at hilmersfineminerals.com or through email at hilmersfineminerals@gmail.com, or you can always text us at that number, and we'd be happy to help you. And I thank you guys for watching the Lapidary channel. I'd appreciate it if you can like and subscribe and hit the little notification bell. We're starting to post more and more videos up. So hopefully a lot more good content to go, guys. And if you have any suggestions for videos, feel free to comment below and let us know what you're looking for, types of videos that you're looking for, and we'll see if we can do them for you guys. All right, guys. Hey, I thank you, and you have a wonderfully blessed day. Take care. Okay, so one last thing here. I know we said we'd end the video, but I wanted to show you guys. So these are the little blocks that we put on. Now, if you order your base, now this is speaking only for Cab Kings or Genies. If you order your base to the normal length, you know, so it's a stock, or I'm sorry, the stock width, you wouldn't even have to worry about this. But if you want to save some money, and actually quite a bit of money, and go with the 12-inch width and not lose any features on there, what we did was I added, these are little laser cut piece of Lexan, and I put these on here with a real strong industrial epoxy, and then clamped them in place. So when these set, and they set in there, that way that it's not gonna, you know, it's not gonna move anywhere. It wouldn't have really moved around anyways, but it's just like a little finishing touch. So there you go, guys. We'll see you on the next one. Take care. Have a great day.